28 minutes after the hour now, Venezuela once again accepting U.S. deportation flights after President Trump said the airspace above and around the country should be considered closed. The commander-in-chief doubling down on his mission to protect national security and stop the Maduro regime.
Venezuela sends us drugs, but Venezuela sends us people that they shouldn't be sending. They emptied their prisons into our country. They sent us killers, murderers. They sent us drug dealers at the highest level. They sent us gang members. They sent us people from their mental institutions. They emptied their mental institutions into our country.
So what can we expect to see from the administration next? White House Deputy Press Secretary Anna Kelly joins us now. Anna, thank you so much for joining us this morning. How are we to read this latest news when it comes to deportation flights? Is this an indication that tensions are cooling between the United States and Venezuela?
Well, look, the president and the entire administration have been consistent throughout all of this. Maduro is not the legitimate ruler of Venezuela. He is the leader of a narco-terrorist cartel. And as you played for your viewers here, the president reiterated that yesterday. They are sending the absolute worst of the worst into our country. Drug dealers, rapists, illegal aliens seeking to destroy our country with these illicit narcotics. And so this president hasn't taken any options off the table when it comes to carrying out his mandate to eliminate this scourge of illicit drugs coming into our homeland. Because remember, this president was resoundingly elected on a promise to deport illegal aliens and also to take on the cartels. That is something he promised all the way back in 2023. So he's going to continue to do that to protect families across the United States from these illicit narcotics that tragically are killing far too many people in our country.
The Wall Street Journal op-ed that I'm about to read really highlighting the fact that nothing is off the table. Quote, the high stakes in Venezuela, the president has assembled an invasion-sized naval force in the Caribbean, including a carrier task force. The political cover for this intimidation campaign is that Mr. Trump is fighting drug cartels, but you don't send 25% of the Navy's deployed warships, F-35 fighters, and thousands of Marines merely to blow up drug boats. So, Anna, the question then becomes, what is the administration's next steps when it does come to Venezuela? And are boots on the ground an option?
Look, again, the president kind of reiterated that yesterday. The president has a number of options at his disposal. And again, he was resoundingly elected to take on the scourge of illicit narcotics. This is a resoundingly popular issue. I'm sure you remember all the way back during the Republican National Convention when he highlighted the tragic story of Ann Fundner. She lost her 15-year-old son to one pill laced with fentanyl. That's not acceptable. And so this president isn't taking anything off the table when it comes to eliminating the scourge of illicit drugs in our country. And of course, that includes striking these drug boats that carry, as the president says, drugs that can kill up to 25,000 people. Enough is enough. This president finally, after years of this, is taking decisive action to stop it.
Striking drug boats, but also the president recently said that land strikes on drug cartels could be happening very soon. Give us an update on that. Could that be a possibility that could happen within the week?
Well, the president did say yesterday that it is a possibility, and I won't get ahead of him on any specific military actions. But again, this is a crisis in our country. Fentanyl is the #1 killer of Americans between the ages of 18 and 49. Enough is enough, and the president is tired of leaders who talk about this and don't take action. This president, in contrast, is taking decisive action. Of course, he already has secured the border, but we also need to carry out that massive deportation of illegal aliens, and we also need to strike these drug boats. The drugs are coming both by land and by sea, and so this president is tackling that issue on all fronts to make sure there is no way that these drugs can come into our homeland and kill Americans.
Meantime, the Department of Homeland Security announcing an immigration crackdown in New Orleans called Operation Catahoula Crunch. In a statement released by the DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin, she writes, quote, it is asinine that these monsters were released back onto New Orleans streets to commit more crimes and create more victims. Catahoula Crunch targets include violent criminals who are released after arrest. You know, we've heard a lot about Chicago and other cities, but how bad is New Orleans that it was the latest, the most recent city added to the DHS's targeted crackdown?
Well, Trisha's exactly right. The concept of these sanctuary city policies is asinine because what happens is you have these illegal immigrants who, of course, are illegal. They illegally entered our country. And then under these ridiculous sanctuary city policies, even if they committed crimes, which, by the way, in New Orleans includes violent crimes, crimes like armed robbery, assault, crimes against children, those individuals, no matter how heinous those crimes are now basically allowed to stay in these cities because law enforcement locally is handcuffed. They're not allowed to act and deport and arrest and deport these illegal aliens. And so that is why DHS, rightfully so, is stepping in, launching this operation to carry out, again, this president's promise to carry out the largest deportation of criminal illegals in history, focusing on these egregious criminals who are endangering communities across our country.
White House Deputy Press Secretary Anna Kelly, we thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate your time, as always.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
পাগলি রে তুই প্রেম শিখাইয়া পাগল বানাইলি দেহ থইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পোড়াইলি পাগলি রে তুই প্রেম শিখাইয়া পাগল বানাইলি দেহ থইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পোড়াইলি এখন আমার মনটা পুরে কয়লা হয়েছে জানি না রে কাহার প্রেমে মুগ্ধ রয়েছি পাগলি রে তুই প্রেম শিখাইয়া পাগল বানাইলি দেহ তুইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পোড়াইলি কেউ পুরে প্রেম আগুনে কেউ বা তুষের আগুন প্রেম আগুনে মন পুরে যার চলে আরো দ্বিগুণ কেউ পুরে প্রেম আগুনে কেউ বা তুষের আগুন প্রেম আগুনে মন পুরে যার চলে আরো দ্বিগুণ কোন আগুনে পুরাইলি তুই করলি বেইমানি দেহ তুইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পোড়াইলি পাগলি রে তুই প্রেম শিখাইয়া পাগল বানাইলি দেহ তুইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পোড়াইলি প্রেমের আগুন যার অন্তরে সেই জানে তার ব্যথা পাগল হইয়া পাগল বেশে কয় যে প্রেমের কথা প্রেমের আগুন যার অন্তরে সেই জানে তার ব্যথা পাগল হইয়া পাগল বেশে কয় যে প্রেমের কথা সেই অন্তরে আঘাত দিবি আগে বুঝিনি দেহ তুইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পোড়াইলি পাগলি রে তুই প্রেম শিখাইয়া পাগল বানাইলি দেহ তুইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পোড়াইলি আহা লা 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 লা